1. A company has 15 million account records and is experiencing slow report performance. Which two strategies should an architect recommend to improve performance with large data volumes? A. Enable skinny tables for frequently queried fields. B. Increase the heap size limit in Apex settings. C. Implement custom indexing on commonly filtered fields. D. Convert all lookup relationships to master detail relationships. 2. An organization needs to establish a golden record for customer data consolidated from 3 different source systems. Which master data management (MDM) implementation style is most appropriate when all systems need to remain authoritative for their own domains? Registry style. B. Consolidation style. Coexistence style. D. Transaction style. 3. A developer writes a trigger that queries account records inside a for loop, iterating over trigger.new. What governor limit is most likely to be exceeded when bulk inserting 200 plus records? A. CPU time limit of 10,000 millisecond. B. Heap size limit of 6 SA. C. SOQL query limit of 100 queries per transaction. D. DML statement limit of 150 per transaction. 4. An architect needs to design a sharing model where sales representatives can only see opportunities they own, but sales managers can see all opportunities for their team. What is the recommended approach? A. Set organization-wide default to public read-write and use validation rules. B. Set organization-wide default to private and use role hierarchy. C. Set organization-wide default to public read-only and use permission sets. D. Set organization-wide default to controlled by parent and use sharing rules. 5. When designing a data model for a new custom application, which relationship type should be used when the child record must always be associated with a parent record and should be deleted when the parent is deleted? A. Lookup relationship. B. Master detail relationship. C. External lookup relationship. D. Hierarchical relationship. 6. A company wants to archive historical data that is rarely accessed, but must be retained for compliance. Which Salesforce feature is best suited for storing billions of records with limited query capabilities? A. Custom objects with record types. C. External objects with Salesforce Connect. D. Custom metadata types. 7. Which declarative feature allows an administrator to calculate the total value of all child opportunity amounts on a parent account record? A. Formula field. B. Cross-object formula field. C. Roll-up summary field. D. Workflow field update. 8. An organization has implemented criteria-based sharing rules on the contact object. A field used in the sharing rule criteria is then configured for platform encryption. What happens to the sharing rule? A. The sharing rule continues to function normally. B. The sharing rule is automatically deleted. C. The field becomes unavailable for use in the sharing rule criteria. D. The sharing rule triggers a validation error on record save. 9. What is the maximum number of records that can be returned by a single SOQL query in a synchronous Apex transaction? A. 10,000 records. B. 50,000 records. C. 100,000 records. D. Unlimited records. 10. An architect needs to provide users access to external ERP inventory data without storing it in Salesforce. Which solution should be recommended? A. Data import wizard with scheduled imports. B. Salesforce Connect with external objects. C. Heroku Connect with PostgreSQL. D. Platform events for real-time sync. 11. Which two considerations are important when implementing Apex Managed Sharing, programmatic sharing? A. Apex Managed Sharing requires a sharing reason to be defined. B. Share records created by Apex Managed Sharing survive ownership changes. C. Apex Managed Sharing can override organization-wide defaults. D. Apex Managed Sharing records are automatically deleted when OWD changes. 12. A validation rule needs to ensure that the close date on an opportunity cannot be set to a date in the past when the stage is changed to closed won. Which formula would accomplish this? A, an iscanged stage name is stage name closed won, close date today. B, if stage name equals closed won, close date today false. C, specval stage name closed won and close date today. D, in prior value stage name closed won, text stage name closed won, close date today. 13. What is ownership skew in Salesforce and why should it be avoided? A, too many records owned by one user causing sharing recalculation delays. B, too many lookup relationships on a single object causing query timeouts. C, too many child records on a single parent causing page load issues. D, too many custom fields on an object causing metadata deployment failures. 14. An architect is designing an approval process for expense reports. The process requires the expense to be approved by the submitter's manager, then by finance if the amount exceeds $5,000. Which approval process configuration supports this requirement? A, serial approval with step criteria. B, parallel approval with unanimous approval. C, jump to next approver based on field value. D, dynamic approval with related user field. 15. When implementing implicit sharing in Salesforce, which scenario automatically grants a user read access to an account record? A, the user owns a contact related to the account. B, the user is assigned to a permission set with view all data. C, the user owns an opportunity related to the account. D, the user has read access to the account's parent account. 16. Which asynchronous Apex method should be used when processing more than 50,000 records that require complex DML operations? A, at future method. B, Kubel Apex. C, batch. D, scheduled Apex. 17. A company requires that territory management be used to share account records based on geographic regions. How does territory hierarchy affect record access? A, users higher in the territory hierarchy automatically inherit access to all records in subordinate territories. B, territory hierarchy has no impact on record access without explicit sharing rules. Users can only access records explicitly assigned to their specific territory. D, territory hierarchy replaces the role hierarchy for all sharing calculations. 18. An architect needs to implement a solution where changes to product pricing are tracked for audit purposes, including old and new values. Which feature should be implemented? A, validation rules with error messages. B, field history tracking. Platform events. D, change data capture. 19. Which two statements are true about formula fields in Salesforce? A, formula fields can reference fields from parent objects through lookup relationships. B, formula fields consume data storage space. C, formula fields are calculated in real time when the record is viewed. D, formula fields can trigger workflow rules when their value changes. 20. When designing a data migration strategy for loading 5 million lead records, which approach minimizes the risk of hitting governor limits and ensures data integrity? A, use data import wizard with duplicate matching rules enabled. B, use bulk API with parallel processing and disable triggers temporarily. C, use data loader with serial mode and batch sizes of 200. D, use Apex data loader with insert all or none option enabled. 21. A user has been granted access to an account through a criteria-based sharing rule. Later, another sharing rule grants the same user write access to the same record. What access level does the user have? A, the first sharing rule takes precedence, read only. B, the most restrictive access applies, read only. C, the most permissive access applies, read write. D, an error occurs due to conflicting sharing rules. 22. An organization wants to prevent users from deleting contacts that have associated cases. Which declarative solution should be implemented? A. Validation rule on the contact object. B. Before delete trigger on the contact object. C. Master detail relationship between contact and case. D. Lookup relationship with don't allow deletion option. 23. What is the primary purpose of using SOQL for update in Apex code? A. To automatically update records after the query executes. B. To lock records and prevent other transactions from modifying them. C. To enable dynamic SOQL with user-provided criteria. D. To bypass sharing rules when querying records. 24. An architect is designing a solution where external system users need to access Salesforce data through an API. The users should only see records matching specific criteria. Which feature should be used? A. Connected app with OAuth scopes. B. Restriction rules with user criteria. C. Scoping rules with context definition. D. Permission set with field-level security. 25. Which data modeling consideration is most important when choosing between a lookup relationship and an external lookup relationship? A. External lookups support roll-up summary fields. B. External lookups cannot be used with sharing rules. C. External lookups reference records in external data sources. D. External lookups automatically cascade delete child records. 26. A trigger needs to update a field on the parent account when an opportunity is inserted. Which trigger context variable should be used to access the parent account ID? Trigger.old. B. Trigger.newMap. C. .oldMap. 27. When should an architect recommend using a permission set group instead of individual permission sets? A. When users need temporary elevated access for a specific project. B. When multiple permission sets need to be assigned together consistently. C. When permission sets need to be shared across multiple sandboxes. D. When field-level security needs to override profile settings. 28. A company needs to implement a data quality solution that automatically merges duplicate account records based on matching criteria. Which Salesforce feature supports this requirement? A. Duplicate rules with alert action. B. Matching rules with duplicate jobs. C. Data.com clean with automated matching. D. Duplicate management with merge functionality.